What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Oh my god, something's having a seizure behind me. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Aaron Knoll. I am your host for this evening. Welcome back to another episode of After Dark. That is really bad. Wow. I need to change the bulb eventually. How's it going, guys? My name is Aaron Knoll. Welcome back to another episode of After Dark. We are back once again this week to talk about the latest in film. Obviously, we have that Shang-Chi spoiler discussion, and we had some big trailers come out this week, so we'll get into all of that. I am not alone this week, however. I do have the, for a little bit, quite literal face of the channel, and my partner in crime, Mr. Matt Beer. How's it going?
Pretty good. Have my other channel put out a video previewing this game, and the opposing team's fans came to the video and attacked it. So thank you for the 221 views that you gave me. I greatly appreciate it.
Oh,
And
shit.
of course, bumping that up to 409 subscribers. I appreciate that.
That's incredible. Hate goes a long way in this world.
I love it.
Mr. Malcolm Lay is with us as well.
I'm in here for a little bit of it because Shang-Chi doesn't come out till this week, but I'll stay for the trailers.
Speaking of hate runs the world behind him, we have Hitler, a pseudo-Hitler, and the death of love in posters.
Oh.
And Mr. Chris Diaz is with us as he laughs himself away on planet Mars or wherever he is tonight.
I think that after did see Shang-Chi beginning of the week, and that great week speaker for movie and video game covered the Night of the Old Republic remake was announced. I'm very happy as a fan. So yay, good week so far.
All right, guys. So we're gonna open up with a bit segment first before we get into the full-on Shang-Chi discussion, and we are going to open with talking about some of the latest trailers. Now, there were a good number of trailers that came out this week. However, I've picked out 4 of them to go with, and obviously there was the big one, but we're gonna save that one for last. Instead, we're gonna start with the pinnacle of cinematic trailers, which was we got the first trailer for the upcoming Roland Emmerich soon-to-be classic Moonfall. With Moonfall, a mysterious force knocks the moon from its orbit around Earth and sends it hurtling on a collision course with life as we know it. With mere weeks before impact on the world on the brink of annihilation, NASA executive and former astronaut Jo Fowler is convinced that she has the key to saving us all. But only one astronaut from her past, Brian Harper, and a conspiracy theorist, Casey Houseman, believe her. These unlikely heroes mount an impossible last-ditch mission into space, leaving behind everyone they love, only to find out that our moon is not what we think it is. The film stars Halle Berry, Patrick Wilson, John Bradley, Michael Pena, Charlie Plummer, and Donald Sutherland, and is set for release on February 4th, 2022. And, but this looks like another fucking Roland Emmerich film. Let's just get that out of the way. I saw nothing in this trailer that made me any more interested than in any of the last 5 films he's made, and I'm counting Geostorm in that 5. I know he didn't direct it, but his bitch boy Dean Devlin did, so it's the same thing. This looked bad. It probably will be very bad. I'm sure the aliens on the moon. I'm sure it's aliens that are on the moon. Let's be real. The moon is not what it seems. It's aliens. Unless it's like fucking Transformers or something. It's aliens. Yeah, this trailer wasn't good. Malcolm, what were your thoughts?
Look, I finally got around to watching it just before this. I still only got halfway through the trailer, but it looks interesting. Like, when it comes to his big disaster type movies like Day After Motor and stuff, I actually don't hate them. I do find some enjoyment in them. Anything has got to be better than Independence Day Resurgence. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I hope it can't be worse than that. God forbid. Chris, what were your thoughts? I mean, you yourself live on a foreign planet that could crash into us at any time. So, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it looked fine. I think he won't have anything named the idea from Michael Bay from Armageddon. It seemed like, but it looked fine. I can't tell what's going on in the trailer. I wanted a YouTube video that replay the trailer right at the end with really annoying. So I had to stop at that point. It can be worse than a Geostorm and Independence Day 2, so it could be a guilty pleasure, but I am no desire to see it. I love the cast, but Armageddon, but more now, I'm a bit for.
Yeah, pretty much. And the slight look of life left in Matt's eyes means he hasn't seen it. So we'll go ahead and move on.
I'm watching it right now.
Are you really?
And I have no idea what you're talking about, Aaron. This thing looks great. You got Halle Berry, Michael Pena, the dude that played kind of the loser friend in Game of Thrones for Jon Snow. I mean, and
John Bradley
Wilson in this movie.
I'm assuming that's John Bradley because I don't know who he is, but he's high in the cast. So he must be somebody.
Dan Foley from Game of Thrones.
He's the friend that, like, I mean, he kind of gets the girl, sure. I mean, the girl that is kind of like, nobody cares about you, type. So I'll take it. Look, I mean, the guy, I mean, he seems like a good dude, but he's the dumb friend that Jon Snow has. That's just facts. No, I watched a trailer literally as you guys were talking. And I think this movie looks better than anything this guy has done in the last 20 years. I would like to say there's a really good chance this is actually a sequel to Independence Day Resurgence. It's just being hidden. We got the new aliens coming in from that.
That's what it means when it says the moon's not what we seem. It's just Will Smith chilling there.
It's Will Smith there. He's gonna come in at the end and save the day.
I mean, I just hope it's not good.
Good.
Yeah, I just hope it's not going to be a Star Wars version like that's no moon, that's a Death Star.
That's a
Red Star.
That make it a independent thing. Yeah, he ripped off everybody pretty much at this point.
All right, so we'll move on to the second trailer, which is for Adam McKay's latest film, Don't Look Up. The film is a science fiction black comedy tale that focuses on two low-level astronomers who go on a giant media tour in an attempt to warn mankind of an approaching comet that will destroy the planet Earth. And if you thought the cast of the last thing about the giant thing from space that's going to hit the Earth and kill us was good, check out this cast. The film stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence as those two respective doctors. They are joined by a third doctor played by Rob Morgan, known for his work on the Marvel Netflix shows. The remaining of the cast consists of Jonah Hill, Mark Rylance, Tyler Perry, Ron Perlman, Timothy Chalamet, Ariana Grande, Kate Blanchett, Hamish Patel, Matthew Perry, Chris Evans, Gina Gershon, Michael Chiklis, Meryl Streep, and fucking Kid Cudi of all people. The film is set for a theatrical release on December 10th, 2021, before going to Netflix on December 24th, 2021. Malcolm, I'll start with you on this one. What were your thoughts on the trailer for Don't Look Up?
I mean, I watched this before I watched the Moonfall trailer, and then my thoughts was, is this secretly a prequel to Moonfall?
It does come out before it, so it's not off the table. And Netflix would produce something like Moonfall, so...
But all jokes aside, look, this cast is stacked. And, look, I mean, when it comes to Adam McKay, he's really good at these ensemble movies, and this looks like it's really interesting, and that could potentially get a lot of Oscar buzz for some of these people. So I definitely can't wait to see it. Because when you got all this cast, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how much screen time they all get, and the premise itself sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Chris, what were your thoughts?
I mean, I love Adam McKay. I love a lot of what he does. I'm a little bit confused with the trailer because it doesn't show really much, and it doesn't give much away. But I'm here for Adam McKay. I love DiCaprio. I love Jennifer Lawrence. Hopefully, she not phoning it in like he sometimes does. But yeah, I love the cast. Selena Gomez is an interesting choice to be in the film. But have you seen?
Did you say Selena Gomez?
Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande.
Don't be bigoted, Chris.
Ariana Grande is interesting.
Not all women are the same. What did you say? Don't be bigoted, Chris. Not all women look the same.
I think that.
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, Ariana Grande interesting choice. It's okay, actress. The less I say about her, but live the better. But yeah, it looks interesting. If not that, they could either be great or really bad, like Adam Sandler type movie. So it should go either way.
All right, Matt, since you're so worried about bigotry, let's clean this up. What were your thoughts?
So I think when a white man called Chris bigoted, that chased the one person I was watching away. Because I noticed they went away after I called him a bigot, which it's fine. You're not a bigot, Chris. You're not. I don't remember this trailer, but I've seen it. And look, I know Aaron is frozen right now because he's not going to keep that exact same expression on his face the entire time. The trailer, though, all joking aside, is fine. It's not something that makes me go, oh, this is going to be amazing just looking at it. But knowing who's involved in the movie as far as the actors makes me go, okay, yeah, the movie just, looks like whatever, but it's probably going to be good. But again, it's Netflix, so you never know. I like The Big Short quite a bit. Vice, I thought was okay. I didn't think it was all that great of a movie. Really good cast in this movie. Leo's going to knock it out of the park. I don't like Jennifer Lawrence as a human, so I mean, who knows?
Too
Jonah
relatable.
Hill. I like Jonah. He's a good actor. This feels like something Adam McKay should do a good job with.
Yes.
But it could either be, really good, or it could just be boring, or it could end up being like Dear Evan Hansen, where it destroys the property that's based off of. So,
Have you seen Dear Evan Hansen to confirm
no, but
that?
that's
Or
what
you speculate?
everybody says. That's what everybody's saying right now.
Is it
So
really?
I thought I would throw it in as like a nice little funny.
I haven't no commentary at the end, but there's a lot to talk about. That's it.
I'll see it. What a tree!
I've never seen the show. I don't give a fuck. If it's a good movie, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. Let's be real. I'm excited for this. I thought Vice was one of Adam McKay's weaker films in a while. Because even with his comedies, he'd been on a good run for a little bit, and The Big Short was an incredible step in an interesting direction for him. And I thought part of what hurt Vice was going with a president that was clearly like doing a comedic biopic take on a president that he clearly wasn't a fan of. I think kind of made it a little over exuberant at times. Like the moment where the film stopped working and became very inconsistent was when they did the extended credits of like, and everything was happy. No, it wasn't. It's like, dude, I know basic American history. I fucking lived through. I know he didn't like, come on, okay, get over yourself a little bit.
But to be fair, I don't think a lot of directors like Dick Cheney, so I don't think they were going to find anybody that could have done it.
McKay clearly wanted the project to be a pot shot. I just think there's a way to take pot shots and be a little more mature about it. I think at certain points the immaturity hurt filmmaking. I hope this is better. I do like the fact that they are in promoting the fact that it will lean more into the comedic side than the dramatic side by sticking his comedies on screen alongside with his dramatic work. I do like that push of like, sure, The Big Short and Vice had jokes and they were funny in the way that it was done, but this is a comedy that has sci-fi and dramatic elements. Also, can I just say, I know I made the joke, but I think it's incredible that Kid Cudi is in this. He is the Moon Man. He is the Adventures of Moon Man. I mean, that is him. His most recent contribution to music on Donda was a song called Moon. I mean, it's just all him. Like, this is who he is. He is in the right place, and he gets to bang Ariana Grande. That's living the life, baby. That's living the life.
Yeah, not Selena Gomez, by the way.
Not Selena Gomez. No. Ariana Grande is a slightly better actress, although I've heard Selena Gomez is good in the new Hulu show that I haven't seen yet, so I don't know.
Right.
But,
she is really good.
It's good. It's on my list. I just haven't had the time. All right. We'll move on to the third film on the list, which is the second trailer for the film Last Night in Soho dropped. Eloise, a young woman with a passion for fashion design and a strange sixth sense, mysteriously finds herself transported back in time to 1966 London in the body of her idol, a singer named Sandy. While in Sandy's body, she enters into a romantic relationship, but then she begins to realize that the glamour of the 1960s London is not what it appears to be, and the past and present seem to fall apart with shady and horrifying consequences. The film is directed and written by Edgar Wright, who co-wrote it with Christy Wilson Cairns, who also co-wrote the Academy-nominated 1917. The film stars Thomasin McKenzie, Anya Taylor-Joy, Matt Smith, Terrence Stamp, and is set to release on October 29th, 2021. So, Chris, I'll jump down to you first. What were your thoughts on this trailer?
I am interested. At first, I had to make sure it wasn't just the same first trailer because some of it is similar to the first trailer that came out. But I love it. You're right. I've been hearing a lot of interesting reviews coming out in the film festival about this, so I'm intrigued to see it. I hope it's good. Again, I have yet to make a bad movie. I love a lot of his movies. So yeah, count me on. I love these type of interesting projects. Directed that don't usually do this type of stuff.
Malcolm, I'll shoot down to you.
Yeah, like the first trailer for this had me intrigued. This one got me sold on this movie because this trailer showed more of what we could expect. And it kind of gave a feel that Thompson McKenzie is going to be in this movie more than what the first trailer may have had you believe that we would have seen her. Because like from the first trailer, I thought, oh yeah, it's going to be Thompson McKenzie goes into this world, and we're going to see Anya Taylor-Joy for the most of this movie. But from the way this trailer was shot, it's going to flash back and forth between them. And this just looks really good. I can't wait till this comes out because Thompson McKenzie's a great New Zealand actress, and like she has been sort of coming all over the place. It's like I really enjoyed her in Old that was out earlier this year. This will be her third movie that's been out this year. So she, the other one is a New Zealand movie that I don't know if it's got over there just as a Bunny King, but Thompson McKenzie's been busy, and yeah, she's great. And
yeah, no, I would agree with you. I loved her in Jojo Rabbit, and yeah, she's definitely a great actress. Yeah, Leave No Trace. Yeah. But yeah, so I like the trailer for it. As I've said many times before on the show, my intuition is not with horror films. This will be something that I will see far in the future. But an Edgar Wright horror film on paper is very interesting because on paper his sensibilities do not lean towards that genre. But as Chris said, I would agree in that he has not made a bad film yet. And I like that he is pushing himself and experimenting with what he can do. You know, I would say very much that Scott Pilgrim is... like, if there was one criticism I had of Scott Pilgrim, and it's not really a criticism, it's more just a comment, it's that it does feel very much in the vein of his Cornetto trilogy. Tone-wise, it does feel very similar to those films. And I like that once he finished the Cornetto trilogy, he has continued to push himself as a filmmaker, making something that was more of a straight-up action film with his personality in it with Baby Driver. Now he has a horror film. Earlier this year, I know he had a documentary come out, which again is another just interesting expansion as a filmmaker for him. So I do like it. Reviews have already come out on the film. It has been screened already. I believe it debuted at a film festival. The general consensus is that the film has great performances. It's well directed. Its biggest problem is the story seems to become a little muddled and confused by the end. Which I kind of got from this trailer anyways. It seemed like the deeper we went into it, the more it was like, oh, what is happening here? This is really weird. It kind of reminded me of Malignant, which those trailers were like, this is really weird. Like, where is this going? And I did see that movie because it's on HBO Max. And yeah, the movie kind of leaves you with that taste in your mouth of like, this isn't certainly bad. It's just what the fuck is going on right now. Weird ass movie, by the way. If you're... I mean, James Gunn's a great horror director. It's still a James Gunn film, or not James Gunn, excuse me, James Wan film. It's still a great horror film, but it's... man, you could tell he was like felt sterilized by doing big studio action films, and so he needed to do just the most out of the park thing he could do because this is it. If you thought Saw was fucked up in concept, it can get worse. That's what I'm saying. But no, I like Last Night in Soho. Again, it's Edgar Wright expanding his directorial style while still dripping in that Edgar Wright flavor to it. The idea of Matt Smith and Terrence Stamp playing the same character at different ages is a really cool idea. And I like that, again, we're going to have to see two actors try and emulate each other in their performances and make sure that it clicks properly. So I'm curious to see that. Yeah, and I do like that this trailer, more than the last one, clearly paints Thomasin McKenzie as the lead of this film, because when you're in the past, you are going to be intercutting in who you're seeing in the interactive moment, and clearly a bulk of it is set in the modern day, and that will definitively be her. So I'm glad we got that. So we'll go ahead and move on to the last trailer before we get to the main topic tonight, which is, of course, the big one. We got the first trailer for The Matrix Resurrections this week. The film, directed by Lana Wachowski, only one of the returning Wachowskis for this film, sees Keanu Reeves return as Thomas Anderson, aka Neo, in a series of events that looks very reminiscent of the first film and is more brightly colored than the first film, as the audience actually reacted to. The film sees a number of actors return from the original franchise, with Carrie-Anne Moss coming back as Trinity, and Jada Pinkett Smith, Lambert Wilson, and Daniel Bernhardt reprising their roles of Niobe, the Merovingian, and Agent Johnson, respectively. The film casts Yahya Abdul-Mateen II in the role of Morpheus, replacing Lawrence Fishburne, and we see an ensemble cast of Jessica Henwick, Jonathan Groff, Neil Patrick Harris, Priyanka Chopra Jonas, and Christina Ricci all take on new roles within the series. The film is set for release in theaters and on HBO Max on December 22nd, 2021. So, Matt, I'll start with you on this one. What were your thoughts on the trailer for The Matrix Resurrections?
It was okay. It was fine. It didn't really make me excited for the movie. I'm pretty convinced this movie is going to be terrible. I'm just convinced until they make a good movie, or until she makes a good movie, I should say now. I mean, yeah, The Matrix was really good, but that was like the one-hit wonder. Everything else that they made was absolutely terrible. So I literally have no excitement for this movie. Yeah, Keanu's getting work. That's nice. I like that he's getting work. I don't really like Lawrence Fishburne not being in the movie. I'm sure he is not in it because he didn't want to be in it. But still, I mean, your lights are like in the Matrix right now, Aaron.
Yeah,
It's like
I'm
really
sorry.
driving me
Don't
crazy.
stare at me. Stare at the others.
I'll
We
stare
have
at
Matt, who looks
Blade
like
Runner
someone from last
2049
night.
cinematographer Chris Diaz right now.
Malcolm's well lit. Matt looks like someone from last night in Soho is about to slink out and kill him. And like I said, Chris Diaz is currently on a mission to Mars. So pay attention to one of them.
But I'll pay attention to myself.
Go ahead, you maniac.
But no, I thought the movie was fine though. There we go. I thought the movie was fine though. Our trailer was fine though. Yeah, nice to see Keanu back. I really don't get the concept of let's do a bunch of the blue pills, because why not? It's a little weird. Neil Patrick Harris is kind of cool, I guess. And maybe we'll get Jesus Christ.
I'm about to
is
just
somebody flickering the lights in their background? Is somebody there just going?
I have no clue. Keep talking. I'm literally.
Jeez, I'm about to like shave right now.
But
But no.
no.
It looks fine though. Hopefully we get a redo. Whoa, Aaron's gone. They got him. I hope we get a you'll be back in this movie. Since the guy.
You stole my joke.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You'll be back in the theaters watching Matrix Resurrections, even though it looks like dog shit. But no, it looks fine.
All right, that was a long way to get there. Malcolm, you're up.
I'm sorry. It's the lights.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones. I enjoyed all the Matrix trilogy. When they said they were doing this fourth one, I was kind of skeptical, because it's one of those ones like with the way Revolutions ended, how could you do a follow-on and bring back Neo, because he died? But I mean, if the title of Matrix Resurrections and that, it's definitely going to be interesting, sort of how this ties in. And I mean, it's one of those ones like when Yahya appeared as Morpheus in the trailer, I was a little thrown off, because just because I forgot that Lawrence Fishburne wasn't going to be in this, and that I mean, I was kind of theorizing with myself that that Yahya was playing like the son of Morpheus or something, but it's confirmed that he's definitely playing Morpheus now.
It is, yeah. But
But that being said, I I'm kind of. There's a good chance we could see a cameo from Hugo Weaving and Lawrence Fishburne in this. Just because Lawrence Fishburne is saying he's not in this movie. I'll believe that when I see it because he could just be trying to save face and just trying to make it surprising if he does appear in the movie. Because I mean, how many other times has an actor said, "Oh yeah, I am not in this sequel," and yet still appeared in this movie. But yeah, it looks great. I'm kind of worried that Warner Brothers is going to use this as a way to not so much erase, but doing this as a direct sequel to the first Matrix movie because there was a more in the trailer. There's a lot of references to the first one, but there really wasn't a lot of connective tissue to the actual sequels. So I'm kind of worried about that. But in saying that, it looks fun. I'm going to see it. I'm probably going to have a good time with it.
Yeah, so I can't say Lawrence Fishburne may show up, but I know for a fact that Hugo Weaving isn't there because they actually attempted to bring him back to the movie, and the scheduling didn't work out. He had already attached himself to another film, and the scheduling didn't work. And I believe that's how I think his name is Daniel Bernhardt. I believe that's how he ended up back in the film as Agent Johnson. He's taking on some of the role that Hugo Weaving should have had. So that's how that happened. Chris, I'll go to you next. What were your thoughts on it?
So I do have to say, you pay close attention to the beginning of the trailer. It kind of reminiscent of the ending of Matrix Revolution, with some sense. It's not really interesting hearing from a couple of people, but I think it looked fine. You got King George and Hedwig in the film with Neil Patrick Harris and blah. It looked interested to see it. The action looked good. A little bit confused how they bring it back, unless they try to take stuff for the Matrix Online stuff, which really wasn't really a good video game to begin with. But yeah, it looked interesting. I believe it when I see it that the movie has really been burnt out by the siblings with some of the movie. I hated Jupiter Ascending. I really did not like a bunch of their films. So I believe it when I see it. Like Neo, Trinity, who would do the second one of the best young actor working today. I really love what he's been doing lately. Stuff, especially with Try Chicago 7. Yeah, it looked good. You got me with King George and Nick Patrick. So I see it when it come out in Pauline Theater, not to do the HBO Max thing.
Yeah. So I'm kind of on when it comes to the films. I'm kind of on Matt's end. Bound is supposedly really good. Their first film. I've never seen it. But the last film they made that I could probably say I liked was Matrix Reloaded because I thought that was at least a fun sequel. Revolutions for me was where it really took the tank. But then everything since then, like I know there's the whole thing where people are like, they really directed V for Vendetta. So like if you buy into that, maybe that's their last good film. But like Speed Racer, I know it has its fans. I'm not one of them. Cloud Atlas, I know it has its fans. I'm not one of them. I am a fan of Jupiter Ascending, but not for the right reasons. That movie's god fucking awful. It's just entertaining while it does it.
I was gonna say, I was about to question you. And like your
no. Are you kidding me? Eddie Redmayne won the Oscar because of that performance adding into it.
Because I remember a lot of people saying, "Oh, he's going to lose because Eddie Murphy with Norbit and that." No, Eddie Redmayne won the award because he was so good in Jupiter's Ascending. He made that movie watchable. Like I would only watch it again. Only to see Eddie Redmayne. I don't care about what
he made that movie. That movie was a trip. You had Eddie Redmayne, who was only ever on "I'm screaming at the top of my lungs" or "I'm whispering," and he never finished a line the way he started it. That was the trick to that performance.
Yeah.
And then you had Channing Tatum as every fucking what are they called?
Was it like a cat thing?
Like a puppy, I thought. He was every furry's dream.
Yes.
And wasn't Sean Bean like part fucking B or something?
Yeah, which is shocking.
Yeah, that movie was stupid. It was great, but it was stupid. So
I mean,
So
you
go
could
ahead.
say that Jupiter Ascending was a stain on Channing Tatum's movie legacy.
Yeah, but
I
yeah,
think Chris got the joke that I made. That was going with that. There's the TV show Jupiter's Legacy is based on that same comic.
Oh no, never saw that shit. Nope. No, I never saw that at all. Okay, that probably was a good joke if I understood it, but I did not understand it. So, yeah, no. I honestly I wasn't shocked when it was revealed that Yaya was Morpheus, because I remember ages ago there was a rumor going around that they wanted Michael B. Jordan to play a young Morpheus, and then B. Jordan wasn't attached and Yaya was attached instead. And I just remember they never said when he was attached that he was playing young Morpheus. That thing went away. But they just attached him and they said in place of Michael B. Jordan. And I just remember looking at him, he goes, yeah, he looks way more like Lawrence Fishburne than Michael B. Jordan does. That makes total sense. Are you kidding me? So I wasn't shocked when it happened. Yeah, look, I don't know if this will be good. John Wick Anderson looks fun. I like that they let him keep his look. It's cool. I know the internet's making fun of it, but like, let's be real. We all saw Bill and Ted. Keanu Reeves cannot pull off clean shaven anymore. It just makes him look too old. The beard needs to stay. So I'm glad they let him keep the hippie hair. My biggest problem with this trailer is it's not that it seemed like it was attempting to replace the sequels and be a sequel to the first film. It felt like it was attempting to remake the first film. Like there was so much in it that was reminiscent of what happens in the first film, whether it's shots or the pill or him and Trinity meeting each other, kind of replicating that feel, the them fighting in the building on the island with the karate, like it was emulating the first film so much that it felt like you are not going to try and remake your best film. Honestly, the only thing about this that interested me were when the different actors showed up, because I've always thought that this is one of the weirdest, most eclectic casts that a film's put together. Like when you just run that list of names down, it's Yahya Mateen, Jessica Henwick, Jonathan Groff, Neil Patrick Harris, Priyanka Chopra, and Christina Ricci was added later. Like that's a weird set of names to put in a Matrix film. So like the fact that like Neil Patrick Harris shows up and he's playing a therapist who's clearly not just a therapist. He's either a part of the coding or he's a bad guy. Like it's one or the other. You have Jonathan Groff showing up with clearly dyed hair, which was the weirdest part about that because he's not that hair color naturally. He's clearly a bad guy. Jessica Henwick kind of looks like she's playing Trinity, but not playing Trinity because Trinity's actually there. Did anybody else get that vibe from her character?
Yeah, now you mentioned it.
Like, I mean, she felt like 2021 Trinity, which was just Trinity with blue hair, which is exactly what she is. So,
yeah, well, this is one that, I mean, I think it's one of those ones. I think they showed those shots specifically because they didn't want to give too much away about the story away, and I think it's a case of,
I hope,
because from what I understand is Neo doesn't remember Trinity or anything about the Matrix world. So maybe, like, from what I'm gathering from what they showed in the trailers, maybe the main plot of the movie is going to be Neo going to this therapist's office and like Neil Patrick Harris to guiding him through his past, help him try to jumpstart his memory.
Maybe. I could see it, yeah.
So, yeah. And I think part of the reason they let Neo keep his long hair and that his John Wick hair is more so he's got a more Jesus look. But because I mean we all know he's supposed to be Jesus in that trilogy.
Oh yeah, no, Neo's Jesus in this universe. Let's be real. He is. And
now he's just got the look to match it.
No, absolutely. Because in the originals, as much as I think Keanu gave a good performance in the original films, he looks less like a Jesus figure and more like that like emo kid that the mom would be upset the daughter was dating in high school with the hair and the glasses and the jacket. Like he looks like a pouty vampire. He looks like the Edward prototype more than he does like the savior of the earth. Although I guess if you were a teenage girl at that point, Edward was the savior of your Earth, so maybe it all kind of adds up.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So those are the trailers. So with that, yeah, I'll put it this way: the trailer didn't make me more excited for the film than I already was, which is middling to begin with, but it didn't make me less excited. It's not like I saw anything that like ruins any anticipation I may have had, because the thing that interests me the most is seeing how they integrate the new actors, and I think they're all in roles that are very fitting. Neil Patrick Harris playing this possibly dark, possibly good therapist figure makes total sense for him. Jessica Henwick, who's done action films before, finally being a leading action actress, makes a lot of sense for her. Jonathan Groff playing smug, high-up leader, well, he already did it as the king in Hamilton, so that kind of makes sense. Who's singing? What is happening? So the other thing was, was Jada Pinkett Smith in this trailer at all, or was she not?
I did not see her. I watched the trailer twice.
Okay, I was just curious if I was the only one who like didn't see her, because I feel like that would have been noticeable. What I do hope, or I guess I'm not hoping for, is that they continue the like faux romanticism that existed between the two of them in the sequel, because the last time Jada Pinkett Smith tried to hook up with a guy much younger than her, we saw how Will Smith reacted, and then we got a bad hip-hop song out of it. So, like, I don't need that again. Because, like, let's be real, if nobody's heard the song Entanglement by that guy Jada Pinkett fucked featuring Rick Ross, it's a terrible song. It's a terrible song.
I mean, actually, I think it's recently sort of come out that I think Will Smith and Jada is actually more in an open relationship anyway, so I think he doesn't mind that so much now.
Oh, then fuck yeah.
He was cool with me.
The dude looks great. That's a hell of a body to lie on. Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, and actually, one
did
point
you see his penis in Watchmen? Like, come on.
And actually, one point
that was real.
Bit was about to say that about the trailers. Didn't Trinity die in Revolutions?
We'll move on in a second, but I do want to present something. A friend of mine who is a bigger fan of The Matrix presented this theory to me, and it's not fully formed, and I can't comment on it because, quite honestly, I haven't seen the films in a long time. I don't totally remember. But his thought was, what if some of the other characters possibly reincarnating or appearing younger is because they survived, but specifically Neo and Trinity, who were supposedly killed in the third film, are still the same characters with the same actors and are just aged up. So his theory was, what if they weren't actually killed, but they were instead preserved and plugged back into the Matrix? And that's why he doesn't remember anything. That's why he's on these pills to make him forget, right? I mean, that's as simple as having the AI prescribing medication. Like,
if I remember the last one of that, like they showed a machine taking his body away after he defeated Smith.
Okay, so maybe. I don't remember it perfectly. That was just something somebody threw at me, and I was like, it's an idea, but I don't know.
Yeah, and apparently Morpheus died in the Matrix Online game, which I do remember reading somewhere that the Wachowskis consider the games and everything all canon to the franchise.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but that Warner Brothers box office doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what I was about to say is, with Morpheus' appearance in this trailer, it looks like they decided to go as a flashbacky type role for Morpheus, so it doesn't matter too much about that one. It was more Trinity is the one that, because I mean Neo is one that's like, yeah, resurrections, Neo's coming back to life, but then again, it didn't occur to me to think, oh yeah, maybe resurrections refers to Trinity as well. But anyway.
Yeah. Either way, yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the main topic before this runs a little too long. And
really quick though, just real quick, breaking news. Somebody just subscribed to Inside Horseshoe with that 410 subscribers. Shout out!
Congratulations! Suck your own dick after the show.
Yeah,
Malcolm. Unfortunately, we do lose you because, as it was said, Shang-Chi has not been released in New Zealand, and it would be fucked up to hold you here when there's no reason to. So you are free to leave, sir. Thank you for being here. Plug anything you'd like to plug.
Yeah, you can find me over on Take for our host Rankum every Saturday. I just finished an episode on comic book movie sequels. Next week we've got Bibs joining us for classic horror movies as we start our horror movie season. And you can find me over in Full Metal hosting trivia matches up the wazoo. But see yous.
Say Malcolm.
So,
And we're going to go ahead and get into Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, the most recent release from Marvel Studios, directed and co-written by Destin Cretton, features Sean, aka Zhu Shang-Chi, in the lead. Shang-Chi is the son of Wenwu, the leader of the terrorist organization, the Ten Rings. After running away from home and being on the go for 10 years and finally settling into a life in America, Shang-Chi is found by his father and brought back home to confront his past and learn of his future. The film, as I said, is directed by Destin Cretton, best known for his work on the film Short Term 12, and stars Simu Liu in the lead role of Shang-Chi. The film also stars Awkwafina, Meng'er Zhang, Fala Chen, Florian Munteanu, Benedict Wong, Michelle Yeoh, Ben Kingsley, and Tony Leung in his English language debut as an actor. The film was released last week and is currently available only in theaters, both in the U.S. and worldwide. So take the banner down for just 1 sec. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let everyone give a quick once-over. I'll let you guys give a quick once-over on your thoughts. You make it, brief, and then we'll go into spoilers, just in case anyone who is watching this on replay or live is still with us and doesn't want to quite get spoiled without hearing opinions. So, Chris, I'll go to you first. What were your brief thoughts on the film without spoiling anything?
So I went on Sunday, the beginning of the week, to go see that. I went in I wasn't too impressed by the marketing, and I wasn't really fairly excited for it, but as soon as the opening scene began, and we should talk more into spoiler, I've been in love with this film. I thought with some of the best action in any MCU movie. A phenomenal villain, definitely top tier, MCU villain. Very likable lead. A lot of funny moments, a lot of treat moments, great family drama. It get me excited for the future MCU. And my God, the adjectives, some of it were beautiful. We should talk more about the opening when we get to spoiler, but I love this movie. I thought as an MCU movie that I had no excitement for. I came out with a smile on my face, laughing, great audience I had with love Aquafina, love the lead, Tony, how would you say name? Tony Leon as the villain. Love the one that played his sister. His first acting role by Shang-Chi was really good in the film. Everybody did a top notch, including Ben Kingsley. That warranted spoiler, Ben Kingsley. But yeah, it's a huge comeback from Marvel after Black Widow. Was just good, but this was definitely a huge step off of Black Widow.
All right, and the man above him wants Bob Chapek fired.
Yep.
But aside from that, what do you think about the film that he's technically attached to?
Yeah, I mean, what an experiment, right? Made a lot of money for just an experiment. But so when I first saw this movie, I came out and I was like, wow, this is really good. I really like this movie. It was awesome. And then I slept on it, thought about it at work, all that good stuff, and it's good. It's a good Marvel movie. I have some issues with it. There's things that happen in the movie and characters stay around a little too long for my taste. Like in the sense of, well, why is that going on? But
Yeah,
it's
I think I know exactly where you're headed.
yeah. I know everybody's going crazy about Simu Liu or whatever.
Yes.
I thought he was good in the movie. I think he's good as Shang-Chi, but I mean, I don't think he was this phenomenal. He's the next face of the MCU. I don't think that's the case at all. I think if they work out a deal with Sony, obviously it's still going to be Tom Holland. Maybe Benedict Cumberbatch, depending on how long he stays. But I don't think Simu is going to be the face. I think he's good in the movie. I would like to see how his character interacts if they want to go that way. I don't know if they're going to. Yeah, I thought the movie was good. It's like bottom tier MCU, but to say it's bottom tier MCU, that's still good. unless you get to Thor: The Dark World, Iron Man 2. Then that's like bottom tier, but like bottom tier.
Black Widow.
But no, Black Widow's bottom tier, but it's not bottom tier.
Yeah.
It's better than Black Widow, but it's not like this fantastic movie that a lot of people were hyping it up to be.
Yeah, so I will say I clearly liked it more than Matt. In terms of
Yep.
where I would rank it, the film for me, I really did enjoy it. I do plan on rewatching it to get a better feel for it. Off of initial reactions, it actually does go into my top 10 for the MCU, but again, that will adjust potentially upon a rewatch and kind of more thinking about it. But it's lower end. I do think the film is overhyped in some ways. What I will say is, and this is part of where the hype comes from, is very similar to what I thought about Black Panther. I do think it is just incredible to see a totally different section of the MCU that we can bring into this that can give representation and exposure to people, to a group of people that are not regularly represented, especially within the MCU, because it's not like we didn't have like Black characters before Black Panther happened. We really don't have very many other Asian characters in the MCU outside of the ones introduced in Shang-Chi. It's kind of why I laughed a little bit when I found out Benedict Wong was in the film, because I was like, of course, the only other probably major Asian character in the MCU is also in this movie. That kind of lines up, doesn't it? I thought the movie was really good. I believe I thought Simu Liu's performance was really good. To me, this is kind of reminiscent of like Chris Pratt, because for those who don't know who Simu Liu is, he is a sitcom actor. He filmed the finale of the show after he filmed Shang-Chi, but his most of his work comes in the Canadian sitcom Kim's Convenience. So this to me kind of reminded me a little bit of that casting, where it's like they're not going for the name, they're just going for someone they believe has the talent to step up, but can also meet the things you kind of expect from the film, or from the MCU. And yeah, I really liked it. I think it's really solidly performed overall. I really like Tony Leung's performance, especially because it is his first English language performance, his first time working within the Hollywood system. He is considered Asian royalty. For those who don't know him, Tony Leung is considered like one of the top actors to come from Asian countries. He is from Hong Kong, to get that correct, where he's from. He's from Hong Kong. And I mean, he's the equivalent of a top actor over there. Some of the work that he was in that Americans may recognize, if you've seen some of the earlier John Woo films like Hard Boiled, he's in those. He was also in the film that inspired the Martin Scorsese film The Departed, Infernal Affairs. So he hasn't been in a whole ton of work that has crossed over, but he's been in some pretty big things, and he's been a part of a lot of successful projects in Asian markets that get like the wide releases there. The stuff like Monster Hunter or things like that. Not the American one that was terrible, but like a franchise over there that releases. So I thought he did a really great job. I thought the film looked really good, both in terms of how it was shot. The movie was shot by Bill Pope, who often works with Edgar Wright and Sam Mendes, I believe, and it has that look to it. It looks really good. And I also think CG wise, they did a really great job. Like this, especially because I recently just saw a clip, because I'm taking a film class right now, and they used Black Panther as an example of when CGI can look so bad it pulls you out. And it's like, man, that really is video gamey, that final action sequence. Whereas like this had fucking demons and a dragon flying around, and it's like, and that's not a spoiler because the dragon's in the trailer, but it's incredible how much they put into the CG wise, and I think it really works. So I really enjoyed the film. I think the point we're trying to make here is whether the scale that you're on, we all enjoyed it. It's still consistent with the MCU. So at this point, if you want to go ahead and throw that up, Matt, if you guys have not seen the film, we are going into full spoilers from here. So Matt, I'm going to say, depending on where you go, I don't know if I totally agree with you on this, but what you were saying about a character, what you were saying about a character that hangs around for too long, it could be one of two options. I'm going to chuck both of you at you. Tell me which one is right. Okay. It's either Awkwafina or Ben Kingsley.
It's Awkwafina. Ben Kingsley, I thought, was in it just enough where it was potentially getting there, but it wasn't too much. I thought what they used with them, it worked for that scene. And my thing is, I thought Awkwafina's good in the movie. I think she is good in the movie. but why was she fighting with the people? That didn't make sense to me. It's like, okay, I guess we're doing that. Oh, you're gonna do that. Cool. You're gonna be the one to shoot the demon dragon, the demise of darkness, whatever
Dude,
the demon souls creature is. Yeah,
at
I
the
was like, okay. I mean, this is your first day really shooting a bow and arrow. I mean, look, as somebody who has shot a bow and arrow and has seen people who are really good at shooting bows and arrows, you don't get that good in a day or two. It takes time to do that. So her just doing it right away makes me go, I mean, it's a Marvel movie. Okay, whatever. I mean, Thanos killed half the universe. Okay, but why? That didn't make sense to me. The sister would have made more sense to do something like that.
Fair.
But then again, I don't need Aquafina to ride on the dragon with Shang-Chi, because I don't think that would have made sense either.
No.
But
The
I mean,
if she's going to be a big piece of the action, the version they did made more sense than anything else.
and now is she an
Yeah.
Avenger now? Because she's
Well,
with
that's what I was gonna that's what I was gonna say was
But
my
they kind of make fun of it at the end when they're talking to the friend, and she's like, "Oh, I just shot it," and I thought that was
yeah. Well, it's like beginner's luck is how they're writing it off, basically. Yeah, that was the note that I had was after the end credit scene, which we'll get into the end credit scenes more at the end of the discussion. But at the end of the end credit scene, my brother turns to me and he goes, "Wait, holy shit, is Wong like an actual Avenger now?" And I was like, "Dude, you think that's insane? Aquafina's an Avenger.
Yeah.
She was in the meeting. Like,
yeah, she's apparently an
she's
Avenger.
part of the family now. She gets to come to the dinners and cookouts. And like, that's awesome. No, so I'll agree with you in some sense. It was actually kind of weird that I had the same feeling, but I felt the same way about Aquafina in this that I felt about her in Raya and the Last Dragon, which is another film that I really, really loved. And I do like Aquafina's performance in it. But it feels like Disney has this innate trust in Aquafina's comedic ability. And so it means that there are clearly sequences where she's allowed to keep going or she's allowed to riff as a comedian. Yeah. And it's not that she's not funny. It's just for either of these films, I don't think it fits. And that's where the problem comes in. If her character was much more story focused and there weren't so many bits with her, I don't think she would have felt as extra to the story, because rather than her just being the supportive friend of Shang-Chi, it felt like they needed to cut back to her for another bit. And it's like, you don't need to. She is entertaining at points for sure, but you don't need to over rely on her just because she's there. Like an example of a comedic character used right in this, I actually thought was Ronnie Chang from The Daily Show, who showed up as the guy who helps the sister run the the fighting arena.
Oh, yeah.
That's a character I thought was used perfectly, in that, yes, he is weird, he is quirky, but he's only in that one sequence. They don't keep him along for the adventure. He just fucks off to nowhere, and his purpose is served. Now, for Shang-Chi's story, I understand why that character of Aquafina, Katie is the character's name. I understand why she hangs around. But, like, in that sequence, it made sense to give Ronnie Chang these little bits in this room to breathe. So he's having a dialogue with Simu Liu, and they're kind of going back and forth, and they're quipping. Or there's the shot when him and the sister disappear, and it's the sister walking out, and Ronnie Chang's doing, like, the fucking Ken Jeong from The Hangover, where he's walking out with the bird. And it's like, okay, there's bits like that work. The problem is when Aquafina is doing it through the whole film, it starts to become a little overbearing. So I do get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I do disagree with. I don't understand why she was in it as much as she was. I mean, for example, we don't see Pepper Potts hanging out with RDJ in all the Iron Man movies for
because
50% of the movie.
So because she's not technically a love interest, she's being
pointed at it.
Well, they hinted at it, but her role in the film is being propried as more of like a roadie to his Iron Man than a Pepper to his Iron Man. She's not just the romantic lead. She's also the best friend who's going to stick with him through thick and thin.
Pepper, even though they kind of hinted at it in the first Iron Man, she was not the love interest in the first Iron Man. There really wasn't a love interest. She didn't really become that until the second movie.
No, I get what you mean. I'm just saying she's not even propositioned in that role, if you get what I mean. She is being propositioned as like the best friend sidekick, right? She is his Rhodey, she is his Wong, she is his Bucky or Falcon. It's
He has a
just
sister, and like the best character in the entire movie too. He has Morris.
okay. This I don't know what they're
enough.
doing with the sister, but we'll get into that in the
Yeah, I don't
post-credit
know either.
scene because that was an odd scene. But
Yeah.
so let's so actually Morris, let's go or go ahead, Chris. What were you gonna say?
And I do agree with Aquafina. Some of her joke worked. I thought the betting joke made me laugh hard with the bet on him against him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I like their friendship. I thought the friendship was touching and gave a point. And when she wasn't being funny, I thought she was really good. Like the thing with the acting. Did you kill the guy? You know, when he telling his story. The hesitation with him. Like, I think Aquafina great. Like, to look at the film, she could do dramatic work and not be funny all the time. Like,
Yeah, I just
and it's the same thing with Ben Kingsley. I thought he would use role. He could have, and put in more stuff. It could have done entertaining. I thought, even though the joke was very funny when he pretended to be dead, it kind of felt like it took you away from the movie a little bit because so much dramatic stuff happening and you get that one joke with him pretending to be dead.
I thought that was absolutely perfect how they played it, where they have Morris, he goes up to it, it's like he's dead, you don't know, and he's like, I'm acting. Okay, act.
No, see, I actually I would disagree with you on the, and that's what I was gonna say. Let's go to Ben Kingsley next because obviously he didn't end up being a secret. There was a shot put out in a promo piece where people were like, "Oh shit, is that Ben Kingsley?" And then obviously they brought him out ahead of time at the premiere because it had already been kind of leaked, and they were just kind of like, what's the point in hiding it? He's here."
Yeah.
And so they brought him out and publicly said he's in the film. I thought, and again, just like in Iron Man 3. Now I know a lot of people don't like Iron Man 3 for the twist, and I totally get it.
Wrong.
But as somebody who has no connection to the comics whatsoever, I fucking loved what they did in Iron Man 3. They took one of the most menacing villains they'd ever created, and they used Ben Kingsley's brilliance as both a dramatic actor and a comedic actor, and they flipped it on its head and turned him into this absolute bumbling drunk. And I loved it. And so when it was announced that he was in this film, and it's like, okay, so that all Hail the King thing came back. And he took him out of prison, and he's kept him as like a court jester for years. And I love the idea that like over the years, he has not only sobered up, but he has had time to think about what happened and realize where it went wrong and almost want to repent for his actions. And I loved all of that. And I thought it played really well. At first, when they walked into him, I was like, I don't know where this is going. And then the moment where it sold me was when Morris first shows up. And he jumps up onto him, and I think it's Aquafina is like, "What is that?" And he's like, "Oh my God, Morris, they can see you too. I'm not crazy."
That was great.
Brilliant.
Yeah, he was great.
My favorite moment with him when we had a 95% chance. Oh wait, 19% chance.
Not 90% to 19% chance. Sorry. And I love it because I thought he would just be a cameo. Like, honestly, I thought it was going to be just the one scene and then he's done and they get what they need from him and then they move on. And then they do the bit almost like where you don't really see him running with them, but he shows up when he gets in the car and it's the bit of can I sit in the front when I sit in the back or car sick or whatever. And I was like, literally, because I was in a theater that was mostly empty. I saw a pretty early showing. So it was just like me and my siblings and like one other person. And audibly out loud, I just went, fuck yes, he's still here. Because it's like, I was like, thank you. You're going to use this character. No, and I thought I thought he was a great addition to the film. I really did. I thought he brought levity. Like I said, so that moment which really is that the last moment we see him in the film? Do we see him again after that?
When they put the lantern down, we see him.
Yes, you're right. He is there with them. So I did love that moment where because that was my thought so the only thing that disappointed me was which this is top like two scenes of the film is the bit in the car with him and Aquafina about the Planet of the Apes. Which was incredible. It was an incredible scene. But when they drive into oh my God, what's it called? Tao Lao or whatever.
Tao Lao.
Tao Lao. Ta Lo, that's what it is. Ta Lo. I just found it. Ta Lo. So when they drive into Ta Lo, immediate you see like these like fucking Navi horse avatar looking things, and I was like, immediately my thought was like, are they gonna put him in the final action sequence by sticking him on a horse and like paying off that joke? And that was my first thought, because it's like, why would you spend that long on that sequence outside of it being a great joke? Why would you spend that long on that sequence and then just bring in these horse creatures? Like, I felt like they're paying something off further here. They have to be. And so I'm watching the entire sequence waiting for that moment. And in the middle of all this action, it's a great moment of levity of just, they cut away back to all these dead bodies, and you see Morris run up to one, and I was like, oh my God, did they kill him? And it's just like, get down. I'm playing dead so they don't get me. Turn over, do whatever he says. I was like, that's brilliant. That's exactly what he would do. Fuck, that's awesome. Because even in Iron Man 3, right? The moment Tony pulls a gun on him, it's like, I don't want any trouble here. Do whatever you need. Fuck it. I don't care. It's like, he's not a hero. He's just a guy who wants to survive. And it's like, whatever it takes. No, I loved his addition to the film. He was a breath of fresh air. As I said, I didn't dislike Aquafina as much as you, but I do agree with you that there were times where it got a little old for me, and I thought he brought a great breath of fresh air. And I actually think because he is such a natural actor, even though he's not a comedian, he is such a natural actor that I thought their back and forth was really well done, because it almost gave her someone to exercise that like intense comedic thing against, who could play with her in a way that I don't think a lot of the other actors could.
I didn't dislike her in the movie. I just thought she was in it too long and in scenes where it didn't really make sense. Like, if she was kind of doing the Ben Kingsley thing, then whatever on the battle scene. But no, she's like, it's like, okay, we learned in 10 minutes how to shoot a bow and arrow. Now let's go fight.
They were there for 3 days.
Three days. That's like 10 minutes basically when it comes to shooting bows.
No,
it didn't make sense. And now she's an Avenger. That doesn't make sense to me.
That's fair. They will have to like pay that off later somehow.
And I'm happy they do kind of make fun of that at the end when they have that you're like, oh, I thought Shelley knew how to do this, and like they do admit how stupid it is.
Yeah, that doesn't make up for the fact that it is what it is. I didn't put too much stake into it. So then we also have. So then another aspect of the film is the bad guys. We'll move on to. We had 3 bad guys in this film. Theoretically, we had the lead bad guy, quote unquote, because bad guy doesn't seem like the right term, but in the form of Tony Leung as Wenwu, which, for those who don't know, I believe Wenwu is the name of the character from the comics, but when in this film, Wenwu is essentially a completely new character, as is Shang-Chi. Like, from what I've read, a lot of the characters in this film really have no basis in their comic history. They're just completely rewritten to be new characters. But Tony Leung plays Wenwu, who is, in his role, a mix of the Mandarin and a character named Fu Manchu, who is Shang-Chi's real father in the comics. Obviously, if you've ever seen any portrayal of the Mandarin in the classic comics, it's a little bit racist looking. And I mean, the name Fu Manchu should tell you how that one went. So they kind of took the archetype of both characters and just rewrote it into this total new thing and made him the villain. We also have Creed 2 actor Florian Montano as Razorblade, who's kind of the number one, and we had stunt actor Andy Lin portraying what is that character's name? Andy Lin portrayed Death Dealer is the name of the character, Death Dealer. So the first one I want to start with is I especially after Black Widow, I loved what they did with the Death Dealer character, because that was the character in the trailers where, just like with the help me out here, Olga Kurylenko in Black Widow, Taskmaster. Taskmaster. Just like with Taskmaster, everybody was like, oh, who's that? Is it the sister? Is it somebody else from his past? Like, who is that character? And I love the original twist on this, and I credit the screenwriters a lot for this, of not making that character have to be some sort of big reveal character. It's just
Yeah.
a guy who happens to be there, and he doesn't end up being all that cool because he just kind of gets fucked off to the side and killed like right off the bat in the final battle. And I love that because I think that's another example of Marvel has done this bit more than once of like, we're doing a mystery villain. Who is it? What could it be? You know, Ant-Man and the Wasp kind of did it by not giving you a lot
Shocker
about
and
Ghost in the
Homecoming.
trailers. Black Widow's obviously a very obvious example of that. Spider-Man Far From Home kind of did it recently with I mean, we all knew Mysterio was a bad guy, but like, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? And it's like, most of the times that Marvel's done it, I don't think it pays off all that well. The
Yeah.
payoff's usually not as
It's
good as
kind
the
of
setup.
good what they did with Shocker in the Homecoming. They just kill him off so quickly. Like,
Well, that too, but like I would compare Shocker more to Razorblade because there's not a lot of mystery to the Shocker. He's just a white guy that looks like he should have been on Sons of Anarchy and might have been on Sons of Anarchy. I don't
He was
remember.
black in the movie.
Huh?
He was black in the movie.
No, the first one was white, and then the second one.
comic.
yeah,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
the first one
Remember,
got killed by
there was the
Michael
first. There
Keaton.
was the first guy who Keaton kills.
Okay.
Accidentally.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, so there's no mystery to that. It was just there's Logan Marshall Green and Bokeem Woodbine. That are their names. I'm all right at trivia. So Logan Marshall Green and Bokeem Woodbine, right? There was no mystery to either of those guys. It was just shocker, and then like Bokeem Woodbine gets smacked by a school bus and like fucks off for the rest of the movie. Like there's nothing to those characters. I love the diversion of putting Death Dealer in the trailers and making him seem like this potentially big character. And it's nothing. At the end of the day, he's just a crony who worked with his dad, who is nothing. There's nothing. There's no deeper tissue there. Just he's a guy that exists. Sometimes guys wear freaky costumes. That is what it is. Which I looked into the history of that character from the comics, and let me just say I am glad they didn't go with that because apparently his history in the comics is he was an MI6 agent who was also a double agent for Fu Manchu, and that just seems overly complicated for a film like this. So I'm glad we just stayed away from that shit. But yes, but I really like. Obviously, we can go on about Tony Leung all night. He was incredible. In my opinion, he was one of the best parts of the film. But before we do that, I do want to give some credit to Florian Montano. I know he's not much of an actor yet. He only has the one film under his belt in Creed. He was in this, and he's in the upcoming Borderlands film as well. I thought he did a really good job in this, man. Like the few times he had to actually speak and act, I thought he did a lot better than he did in Creed, because that was honestly the only time I didn't think he gave a good performance in Creed was when he had to speak. And it's just a thing of, man, you're intimidating as fuck when you don't talk.
Yeah.
But I thought he did a lot better in this film, and I love in small little tidbits they gave that character so much personality. You know what I mean? Like the bit where they hijack his car and it's just fucking Razor Fist spray painted in huge letters on the side. Like that alone tells you, okay, so this guy's got a huge ego. Like he's petty, probably petty as fuck about a lot of things. And it's like they fill in these little bits about him without needing to give him a whole ton of screen time or in-depthness. And I love that. I think it's really cool.
One of the biggest laughs in the theater when he's like, we're not doing work for you. Boom, he get hit by one demon. Fine, we work together.
Yeah, exactly. And that's building on the like, yeah, you guys really aren't shit. Like you got a cool blade for a hand, but you're nothing against these guys. Yeah, Matt, what were your thoughts on the villains?
I liked Win Wu in the movie. I liked what they did where he wasn't just a straightforward villain. He had layers to him. I enjoyed the father-son aspect to the film that he brought with him. Obviously Tony Liang, or however you say his last name. He's a really good actor. He should be recognized by more people. A lot more people should know who he is. And maybe this will begin to do that. But I thought he was really good in the movie. The Dweller of Darkness, I believe that's what it's called.
Yes,
I mean, I like that they didn't show that in the trailer at all with any of the demon stuff and all that. But really, besides that, it's just like a Dormammu type of end to the movie, where it just appears at the end. It's this thing that he has to defeat, and then after he defeats the main villain of the movie. And even though I wouldn't say Wenwu is much of a, I mean, he's technically the villain, but he's not really a villain in the movie.
Antagonist to the protagonist
Yeah.
is more the right term.
Yeah,
Villain
'cause-
isn't the right term.
Yeah, because I mean, he's being influenced. So he's like Anakin. He's being influenced by the dark.
Oh God, no! Please don't compare him to Anakin. That'll scare people
Anakin,
away.
Hayden Christensen, Anakin Skywalker,
Sam.
bad. But no, I
That was
did
better
like
delivered than Hayden Christensen's and better written.
True. And then the dude you're talking about has the sword hand wrist.
Razor Blade.
Yeah, that guy. What a stupid name for a character.
Razor Fist. Excuse me.
Razor Fist. Even dumber for a character name. But I like the guy too. I thought he did pretty good in the movie. He was good.
Yeah,
Enjoyed it.
yeah. I love time Leon. Like, and I said in my non-spoiler, what made me fall in love with the movie was the opening sequence with him, like giving the history to Ten Wing, that battle between him and the mom, and like that was beautifully shot, and it felt like beautiful art coming to life with that fight, and it was like, and I believe in that relationship that made me sympathize with the villain. Like, they don't give you so much about the relationship history, but what they give you really connect in a way. And like, and I thought he was very sympathetic, very well developed. I got emotional when he died. Like, I like that he sacrificed himself for his son. Like, his final act was saving his son for the demon. I thought was a beautiful act. And Danny Tenming, I mean, I hate fake death. I wouldn't mind seeing him come back, but I hate fake death as it is. But yeah, definitely like not a great Asano, but he definitely my top, probably 3 or 4 favorite MP villains so far in the past couple years.
Yeah, he most closely reminds me, and again, I think this does play into the issue of I still honestly believe that Marvel doesn't properly know how to write a real villain, because I would even venture to say the best villains over the last few years, quote unquote villains, like I would put Michael Keaton up there. I would put Thanos obviously up there. I would put Killmonger up there, and I would stick Tony Leung as Wenwu in there. The problem is none of them are truly villains because they all have points of view that you can actually understand. And what they're doing isn't so much as like to bring destruction and doom to other people. More so, they feel totally justified in their attempts. Like, let's be real. Wenwu is a guy with a troubled past who found love, had it taken from him, and he didn't know how to react. And now in the modern day, he is being manipulated by an outside force to do what he believes is a noble cause to bring the love of his life back. There's no part of him that's like truly evil, because even with the raising of his kids, while obviously it is incredibly fucked up what he was doing, it's all he never ever knew how to do. So it would make sense that when you lose the thing that changed you, you go back to what you know.
I think you forgot about one villain though, Aaron.
Go ahead.
Hela. Forgot about Hela.
I wouldn't say good writing so much as good performance. Kate Blanchett is what made that. The character wasn't the best written.
Okay.
Yeah,
But don't worry. December 17th, you're going to get a bunch of really good villains in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Woo. Yeah.
Woo. Yeah, fuck yeah.
My favorite
great.
scene where
I'll get the flag out. Yeah.
That'd be great.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Before we get into the, we're gonna get into the 2 post-credit scenes, and we'll get into the other surprise cameo scene. Before we do, we'll do one quick wrap up on your thoughts on the film. Chris, very briefly, what are your final thoughts on the movie?
This is a film I definitely did go see again. I loved it. I need to think on it more. We didn't talk too much, but the action sequences are definitely top tier Marvel scene. Like the bus scene alone and the opening sequence are some of the best hand to hand like action sequence I've ever seen in a Marvel film. I would have put it on par with the Raid, as some people would put it on par for it. It was incredible. Yeah. I never watched that boss scene that opening scene over again. But everything I love, we didn't talk much about this, which I really did like this character a lot. I thought it was very sympathetic to get some people to complain. but that another topic for another day. But I thought she was really well developed. We'll talk about the post credit scene type where they're going with that. Everything else, the labor grade. Like I did like the kid a lot. I like him and Kim Convenience stuff for the episodes. I think they really gave him his first starting role here. Yeah, I love this film. Like this is I have to think between this and Suicide Squad, which one I like more. But this is probably my number 5 of 40 years so far on my list at the moment. Right.
Matt, brief final thoughts.
It's a good movie. It's in the bottom 10 of the MCU for me. Granted, there's a lot of great MCU movies out there and really good MCU movies. So saying it's my bottom 10, unless you're in my bottom 2, does not mean you're a bad movie. It's a good movie. I don't think the action is as amazing as what everybody says. Everybody was saying how it's some of the best action in a Marvel movie, and I disagree. I think there are scenes in other Marvel movies that have better action sequences than this movie. I think The Winter Soldier absolutely annihilates it with the action, and
Oh yeah.
a big part of that is cinematography, the way it's shot. I think if it was shot differently in Shang-Chi, then maybe, but it wasn't. It's good action. It's not bad action. It's enjoyable action, and I enjoy it, and I would watch those scenes again. Really well shot, enjoyable movie, like the father son aspect, but I don't think it's this great movie like everybody says. And yes, it's better than Suicide Squad, but that's not saying much.
Well, we all know that you like that movie less than most people.
Yeah.
I would agree that I think it is better than the Suicide Squad, and I like that movie just fine, but it is better than it. I think again, the MCU has reached a point of if you like the MCU, you're going to like most of everything that they produce, and this is no different to that. I think if you like MCU movies, you're going to like this. I think the mix of the culture and the style of action sequence, because I do agree with you. I don't think the action sequences in concept are some of the best they've ever done, but I think the fact that especially compared to more recent films where it's a lot of blasty action or this like big bombastic set pieces, the fact that most of this is smaller hand-to-hand combat sequences in the scope of a larger action sequence at times, and I think the uniqueness especially of the final battle is fine, but the opening battle, the battle on the bus, and the battle on the side of the building, I think just the hand-to-hand combat aspect of it is very unique to the MCU, and I think that is what is giving the idea to people that it is better than most, because I would say the hand-to-hand is some of the best we've seen since probably Winter Soldier Civil War. It is. It's got great action. It's got great acting in it. I think Simu Liu fits right into the MCU. I think Aquafina with time can fit in. I think they need to give that character a bit more if they're going to make her a bigger character going forward. I also think they just need to give her less free time to add humor in, because again, it's not that she's unfunny. It's just I don't think it always fits what they're going for. Especially because a lot of her joke is like modern reference humor, and especially with Raya, but with this as well, both of these films are very, yes, they're set within the modern world, but they're very of another world, and so that humor doesn't always work. But I thought the performances were great. I thought Simu Liu did a good job. I thought Tony Leung did a great job. I thought Ben Kingsley did a great job. It all just really worked. Like I said, Marvel's in a place where it clicks. And at this point, it's all about how unique is your film compared to the rest. And I do think this is one of the more unique films we've seen in a while. Is it levels above Black Widow in terms of quality? No, not necessarily. But is it more unique feeling than Black Widow? Yes, absolutely. And if you're looking for that MCU feel, but with something a little different attached to it, I would say Shang-Chi would deliver that more than other properties have in the MCU this year. So if that's the point you're at, I would say that absolutely delivers it. But again, it's another really good MCU property this year between television and films. I don't think maybe outside of What If, but I'll give that time to finish up. They haven't delivered a bad product, and they continue to deliver good products. But I do think this is, and maybe outside of WandaVision, obviously, it's the most unique entry into the MCU, and I do think it does make up for that this year. So yeah. So what's up?
I'm about to say shout out to Michelle Yeoh. She was also really good in this movie at the sister and mom. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and move on. So there were 3 sequences, one in the middle of the film, and then obviously the 2 post-credit sequences. The one in the middle of the film that we're going to talk about briefly before we move on, and Chris, you could stop swinging the DVD in front of the camera. So obviously in the middle of the film, when we're first introduced to the sister character, whose name is Zhu Xialing. When we're first introduced to her, we find out that she is running a underground fight club, which features all these different weird fighters. We get a cameo from The Daily Show's Ronnie Chang as her assistant. We also get the introduction of, and it is basically an extended cameo, but we get a cameo from Wong. And we get a cameo from Tim Roth reprising his role as Abomination. Yes, Chris, we get it. The DVD is there. By the way, no one can decipher what that is from the back. You'd be better off showing the front of it because, like, that's just writing. The back of the DVD
That's
is
just the
all
whole, but that's for say for more when we talk about the credit.
Wait.
Yeah, so Tim Roth does return uncredited. He's not in the final credits of the film, but they have said it was him. Returns as Abomination briefly, where we get to learn that Wong and Abomination are apparently Fight Club brothers, and they like train on Tuesdays together. And yeah, it's a really odd sequence in the film. I don't really know why it was there, but it was.
Wait, you're saying that's a credit scene?
No. I was just including it because
Okay.
it's its own.
Okay, I
It's
was
its-
so confused.
It's its
I was
own
like,
little
no.
thing that doesn't really connect to the rest of the movie, so that's why I was including it
I
here.
have a question about
I was
that.
like, I haven't seen the. I don't know. I missed the credit
When-
scene.
No.
Good
And then
one.
we had the 2 credit scenes, which is the movie itself ends with a callback joke earlier in the film of Katie and Shang-Chi at the restaurant with a friend and her boyfriend, and they're recounting this crazy story that happened to them. And in the middle of it, Wong shows up, interrupts the dinner, leaves the friends with the bill, which is the shittiest part of all, because if they're terrible tippers, why are they paying? And he takes them off, and we get the post-credit sequence, which is Wong takes Shang-Chi and Katie because of their involvement in the stuff that happened on Ta Lo and the activation of the rings, and they go to a meeting which features Bruce Banner, played by Mark Ruffalo, back in human form, unexplained, and we have Carol Danvers, played by Brie Larson, which I shouldn't have been shocked by, because for anyone who doesn't know, the director, Destin Cretton, has previously only directed 2 films, Short Term 12 and The Glass House, both of which starred Brie Larson. So I shouldn't have been shocked when she showed up, but then I thought about it and I was like, oh, that makes total sense. Yeah, they know each other. Like, that makes a lot of sense, actually. So it's Hulk, Wong, and Captain Marvel are in a meeting where they're discussing the rings, and they reveal that the activation of the rings' powers has sent out a beacon to something, and they're not quite sure what it is, and they're going to have to figure out. And we end on just a series of jokes, basically. Captain Marvel says, oh, Bruce has my number. And he's like, oh, Bruce has my number. And then he disappears. And then he's like, oh, I don't have her number. Welcome to the circus, kids. And then he disappears. And then they all go sing Hotel California together at a karaoke bar. Which honestly didn't even feel like part of the movie. That felt like the 3 of them got fucked up after shooting one night and somebody pulled out a cell phone and recorded it and they put it in the movie. Was Wong wearing a robe? I can't remember. Like,
Yeah.
it was so weird. And then we have the final post-credit scene, which shows the sister, Xialing, who is now taken over as the head of 10 Rings and is, I guess, rebuilding it in her own image. And yes, I do want to point out, Chris is correct in the private thought. Destin Cretton does have a 3rd film. He did Just Mercy in 2019, which also co-starred Brie Larson. So my point still stands that she's been in every single one of his films. So yeah. So I'll go to you guys for your thoughts on the sequences. I'll start it off real quickly. I thought all 3 of these were really weird sequences. Like, I get that outside of it being a cool shot, I don't really get why Wong was there for Fight Club and why Abomination, who should have been in prison, was also there for Fight Club. and how Wong and Abomination were buddies who like spar on the side, and like just none of it made any sort of sense whatsoever. It felt like a half-baked joke somebody came up with while eating a pop brownie, and then they just had the means to do it, so they did it. Similarly, the post-credit scene with the Avengers is cool. It was nice getting that kind of official initiation of like, okay, look, obviously Aquafina is apparently being considered an Avenger, but I like the idea that Wong's no longer being treated as Doctor Strange's sidekick for all he did probably in the intermediary time and obviously during the events of Endgame. He is being treated as one of the Avengers now, which is pretty cool. And I like that they kind of initiated Shang-Chi in, but the entire scene ending in just one big joke where it's just punchline after punchline after punchline, and now we're fucked up in a karaoke bar at 2 a.m. singing the Eagles. It's like, okay, this is really weird. Like, honestly, the only thing that could have made it worse was I was scared they go back to the Old Town Road joke, which I don't know if it would have made it worse or funnier, but that was weird. And then I don't really know what they were setting up at the end, like outside of the fact that she's now in charge of the 10 rings, because it almost made me feel like they were trying to set her up to be an antagonist, but nothing about her in the rest of the film gave off the feeling that she should or could become an antagonist. I don't know if that's just me and how I read into it, but I thought it was really weird. Mr. Fire, Bob Chapek, I'll go to you. What were your thoughts on these 3 scenes, 2 post-credit scenes and the other one?
I could have lived without the first one or the second one. Didn't need
the
that.
Avenger scene.
No, the second.
The
sister. Oh, the second credit scene. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, could have lived without that one. I didn't really need to see that. But whatever. I don't really have any thoughts on that because it didn't really make me go, oh no, they're coming back. She lied. I really don't care. I just don't care. The first one that they showed, though, I really liked it. Again, I don't know why she's a part of this whole thing.
Because she was there.
But, I mean,
you did say that about a lot of Avengers.
She's going to fight with, like, the West Coast Avengers or something, and it's just not going to make sense.
So she'd be like the Teen Titan East in the Teen Titans.
Right. But no, I do like that credit scene, though. I thought it was cool to see them bring in Bruce and Captain Marvel. And what I like is that this is clearly setting up, because the whole beacon thing, it's setting up what I would assume, just based on the whole descriptions that they gave in it, Galactus, however you say his name. Because that whole thing, it connects to him in the comics. So they're setting it up. That doesn't mean it's going to happen in a year or two. This is a kind of Thanos-like build-up, maybe longer than what we had to wait. Like, I don't think it's going to happen for another 6 to 10 years before we even see him, because you got to get X-Men and all that in there first.
God, I hope we don't wait that long.
We need to let Kang do his thing. Let him be the big baddie, if that's what they're even planning on doing. Or whoever's going to be the big baddie. Let that happen and then go into that whole thing.
Dr. Doom be the big baddie.
I don't know. I don't know if I want him to be the big baddie. Maybe. We'll see. But no.
With Jonathan Majors?
Yeah, with Jonathan. Yeah, I want Kang. That's who I want. I want Kang.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was good. I like what it sets up. It doesn't directly say who it is, but I do like that they're hinting at who it is, and get rid of Kate.
And I will say it was funny after that scene, and to be fair, my brother likes movies and he really likes the Marvel movies, but he doesn't like know offhand as much as I do. And he turns to me after that scene and he goes, I know the next Captain Marvel film is already filming and it already has a director, but for like the one after that, can we get this guy to do it? Because that was the best performance she's given thus far. And I was like, well, it's funny you say that because they're like really close friends. So that totally makes sense. No, this was the best she's probably been so far. It was the least if she's been as a character.
No, I liked her more in Endgame, but yeah, I thought she was good in this.
You're comparing
like a movie to a scene.
There's nothing in both of those appearances, but We can all agree that it was better than Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was better than Captain Marvel. I thought she really did it. I thought she was really good in Endgame. For sure.
All right. And then any thoughts on Monster Fight Club? I'm gonna go with no.
Oh, I thought you were talking to
No,
Chris for a
talking to you.
second.
Any thoughts?
No.
Okay, Chris. Brief thoughts. What were your thoughts on the post-credit scene?
I thought that final one, yeah, I could have done without it. Maybe a loophole that, like, oh, sequel bait, as they usually do. But the mid-credit scene, I thought the idea that Sandwing's been around for a lot longer is intriguing to see where it's heading. Is whether it's the deviant, because we could get Celestial being that another thing for the Eternal beginning, the Eternal movie coming up, that being something, or Galactic. And I thought the joke at the end, I thought it was a good audience. We all could have stopped laughing when they doing drunken karaoke. Like, we got laugh our ass off at that. Great money gag in the movie. The Abomination, happy seeing back. I hope they explain to She-Hulk what the hell's going on. I mean, is that the laugh he'd be sent back to when he opened the portal to bring Abomination back?
What about it? Is that the last we see of him?
No, is that the laugh of where the Abomination being led into? Because
I
they
think
showed
so.
that portal, and you see that little cage in the background briefly.
I think so.
Maybe. I don't know.
So we don't know what happened between the snap and this and She-Hulk. So we don't know what happened in between the Abomination. So I mean, I like that. I like the mid-credit scene. I like a couple of that made me laugh. Them calling the Avengers the circus, I thought was a pretty funny gag. Like, and the karaoke, and I now text my friend. Whenever we get bored, I'm like, we should go to bed or go to drunken karaoke night. Yeah. Yeah. Great mid-credit scene, okay, post-credit scene. Weird cameo. I'm interested to see where they go with She-Hulk next year with this. Hopefully, they probably bring Mom maybe for She-Hulk. I wouldn't be surprised to tie into this a little bit. But yeah, overall, I'm excited for the next phase, especially with Eternal and
Yeah.
Spider-Man coming out. Like,
If Wong appears in She-Hulk, then I'm convinced Benedict Wong gave Kevin Feige like some incredible Christmas gift or something for him to just get to show up in everything. He's in this. He's in Spider-Man. He's in What If. He's in Doctor Strange. Obviously, if he makes it into, I wouldn't be. If he show up in Eternals, he's
He might be the new Nick Fury while Nick Fury's out and about.
potentially, yeah. That was my thought with Banner because he's in this. He's going to be in She-Hulk. It's not confirmed, but somebody was able to capture a pic of him on set hanging out with Ethan Hawke and Oscar Isaac on Moon Knight. So there's a rumor that maybe he's involved with that show somehow. Why else would he be on set?
Right.
Unless he's just there to hang out with Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke. Because, like, why wouldn't you if you can?
Right.
I mean, I wonder how he became human again. That's also another question. Like,
No,
last time I checked, he was Professor Hulk.
Yeah, I didn't think about it too much. I was just like, yeah,
I'm
they'll
so
get to
happy.
it when they get to it.
I'm so happy they're not doing Professor Hulk anymore. That was it was good for the movie.
I'd rather have this Hulk
Leave it.
back than Professor Hulk.
I want the Edward Norton Hulk back personally. I want Savage Hulk. I don't want let's be nice Hulk.
So anyways, guys, with that will be the show. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out other future episodes of After Dark. Next week, theoretically, we should be back with our second What If episode. The last one went up a couple of weeks ago, and it featured it was a duo show between Alan Shepard and Nikki Sullivan discussing the first 3 episodes of What If. Next week, we'll be back with episodes 4, 5, and 6. So be sure to tune in and check that out. Other than that, with that said, on behalf of my panel here, Mr. Matt Beer and Mr. Chris Diaz, please be sure to check out everything on TMG Entertainment. Please be sure to check out Matt's other channel, Inside the Horseshoe. And yeah, check out everything that we have going on. I will see you guys next time on the show. Take care.